He tracks video across his 35 stores, and the average is usually about a $400 gross increase on the front with video versus no video.
Let me ask you a question. Did you come here to listen to money or make it? This is L.A. Williams, the Blind Master, and Sean V. Bradley and I came here for one reason and one reason only. That's to fill your pockets with money. Now how we gonna do it? By giving you the secrets, techniques, and strategies for you to stop losing and start winning at this game called Automotive Professional Sales.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. And man, we're about to break the internet with this one. I got a special guest here. And again, y'all might be like, what show is this? Yeah, this is the Millionaire Car Salesman Show. This is SVB and a place to be. And I've got my friend Steve Roessler of DriveCentric in the building. What's up, Steve?
What's going on, Sean? Good to be here, baby.
Yo, you're on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. Actually, we're live streaming in the group with about 30,000 automotive professionals in it. Did you think you'd be on the show anytime soon?
No, this is kind of like a New Year's kind of like thing that I was like, holy cow, Sean's reaching out to me and getting on this. Let's do it, baby.
Yeah. And you know what? Listen, I think that it takes a real man or real adult to admit when they were wrong, so I'm going to say this with pride in my voice and no shame in there. I have to say that I really misjudged DriveCentric. I really did. And I think that it could be for this reason, that reason, whatever the reason, doesn't really matter at this point. But I want to just share with everybody that I had the opportunity to really dive in. And let's be very transparent, Steve, because I'm a very honest person. This is not the first time that we try to connect and try to be valuable. This is like the third time, and the first two times crashed and burned. And again, it's partly because I didn't understand. And I'm very good at CRM, and I'm very good at car sales. So I'm thinking, man, shit, if I misunderstood this at my level, what about the regular car person or the regular dealer or the regular manager that's not a technology expert, that's not a CRM expert? I mean, how the hell are they going to navigate through these waters out there? So I figured, you know what? Let me kill two birds with one stone. Let me just show, DriveCentric and Steve, some respect and give them opportunity, to be on this platform so they could kind of share their insight, their experience, their wisdom. And then I also want to be able to just parlay with you, man. I want to just have a cool conversation about CRM, about AI. Cool?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're right, man. I mean, look, this is what we go through all the time. And the thing we take a lot of pride on when we started this company was we're looking for synergies, right? I mean, we kind of talked about this even when we were going through the demo. You got Dealer Synergy, you got DriveCentric, but you got to have the right message to be a successful company. And so what we've always have done is look for, whether it's consultants, the OEMs, just anybody that's out there, even vendor partners, where the messages are the same. And that network can be kind of small sometimes getting started. But, like I said, I know we tried this a couple of times, didn't work out, but I mean, we've thrown a good message out there. It is working. So I really appreciate the fact of what you said there earlier, because it's not for everybody at that time. And that's why I'm always willing to hey, it's something, if we can get people to change their culture, change the way they react to what they're seeing in these CRMs. And now it's like a refreshing approach for dealers. And it doesn't have to be so complex.
Yeah. And I want to start by saying something that I repeat to all my clients. Look, I'm not using this number as a good or bad number, just throwing a number out there. If I say that if you do it this way, I'm going to get you 10%. Think about that. If you do it the Dealer Synergy way, you're going to get a 10% whatever ratio. That means that there's 9 other ways to do it slightly different, drastically different, and still get the same 10% closing ratio, which means that there's multiple ways to do something. There's multiple ways to get to the end goal. And what I'm finding out is that DriveCentric is definitely doing things differently. And in our world in automotive, at least for my 25 years doing this, sometimes, it's hard to believe, you know, because there's so much.
Sure.
Let me just be frank. This is my show. You know, I mean, you could speak just as open to them. There's so much bullshit out there. There's so much smoke and mirrors and magic beans and vaporware and this or that, you know. And so when somebody says that we could do this or we could do that, and it's a whole different way than you've been doing it for years or a decade and a half, sometimes it's kind of hard to absorb. But absolutely. I'm going to just say this, and then we're going to get into the official interview thing here. The last conversation I had with you, you fucking floored me, bro. Like, you absolutely floored me with the Chat GPT integration, because I don't know if you know this, but LA on our team, he's one of the partners in our company, the Blind Master.
Yeah.
He's been evangelizing Chat GPT and AI and the shit that I've seen with my own eyes that you could do with DriveCentric is just unreal. You know what I mean? So let's save that for a little bit later on. But like, I'm super excited to dive in because I'm a nerd. Like, I love this shit. I love things that help dealers be more productive. So let's just start with my audience that doesn't know who you are. So can you just give your background? You know, how did you get into the automotive industry, and how did you get into CRM technology? And start there.
Well, I'll make it short and sweet on that, but no, I appreciate it. I've been with DriveCentric now 9 years, but before that, I was in the medical industry for 16 years. So I did everything from pharmaceutical sales to implantable devices to testing drugs. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do in the medical industry. And then even before that, I did engineering sales. But in every career,
I was in pharmaceutical sales as well, right?
Yeah, I think I remember you talking about that on one of your shows or something like that. But yeah, I worked at Wyatt Pharmaceuticals, so not that far from you.
I was self-employed, but that's a whole other story.
That kind of pharmaceutical. Yeah. Well, I tested drugs, but people say, "How did you test them?" No, so I did everything I did was always with CRM. I mean, any sales job outside of automotive, I mean, you're using a software. And my buddy, now I did start 2 companies up in the medical industry, and my neighbor, Dave Foltz, who's our CEO, he came, you know, we were always playing poker together, said, "Hey man, I want you to take a look at something." And I went up to his house. It was probably like 1 a.m. We were drinking beer, and he showed me how to shoot video inside the CRM. And that was over probably 10 years ago. And he said, "How would you like?" I said, "Man, I could sell this in the medical industry. I just know I could." And he goes, "How would you like to do it in automotive?" I'm like, you know, and I was like, because you try to get me in automotive. And when he said, "Hey, I'll give you some ownership and stuff like that," it was my dream to always be an owner of a company. I was never an owner. So it was a dream come true. I mean, a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, rejection, you know, but it's just been a wild ride. But sales is sales. So I bring a lot of knowledge on professional sales outside the car industry, and I bring that approach into the car industry, which is, I'm hoping, real refreshing for everybody.
That is really awesome. I want to talk about outside industry CRM. See, when I got into the automotive industry, I'll never forget, they did not have in 1999, they did not have CRMs. We were using paper desk logs. We were using black Sharpies, yellow highlighters, and red Sharpies. And we were using what's called a Stuckler tickler file system. Yep. That was our follow-up system. But I remember that my dealer had a CRM called Goldmine.
Yeah.
So there was Goldmine and there was Act.
I used Act and Goldmine. So yeah, and they were hardwares that would crash your computer. You needed a computer to run it because it wasn't web-based.
Then it got into, I think the first, let's take you back into the time machine of automotive CRM. Then I would say the first awesome CRM that I was really blown away by was called AVV Web Control. I don't know if you've ever heard of AVV Web Control.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, Mazda MDOL. It was the Mazda OEM purchased it. Then there was AutoBytel's iManager. There was AutoWeb's Web Enhancer, Dealer Peak, and there's all these different iterations. And there was a time, I don't know if you know this, Steve, but there was a time in the industry, I'm talking about like almost 20 years ago, that we had another classification besides CRM. There was ILMs. Yep. And so, and a lot of times, unfortunately, because the interlead management wasn't done the right way for some of these CRMs, especially the bigger ones. So it was absurd. We used to have ILMs and CRMs, and sometimes dealerships didn't use the CRM. They just used the ILM and blah, blah, blah. I want to kind of share with you my philosophy or my thought. I would love your opinion on this because you do have CRM expertise outside automotive. I've always said, up until my recent acclimation to your DriveCentric platform, that there is no amazing CRM in the automotive vertical like a Salesforce or Zoho or HubSpot in the traditional corporate world. I didn't really feel that there was something. I used to equivalent like PlayStation 5, like let's just say Salesforce or Zoho's PlayStation 5. I would never say that there was a PlayStation 5 in automotive. There might be a PlayStation 3. Some of these are freaking Nintendos. A couple of them are freaking ColecoVisions or Pongs. But what is your opinion about the CRM technology outside of automotive, like a Salesforce or Zoho? Can you give your translation to the automotive industry? What do you think about those type of platforms, and how are they different to not just DriveCentric, but just automotive CRMs?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great question. Because when we first started, when I first got in the industry, I used DriveCentric as my CRM, calling on dealerships all across the country. The problem, and that's where Salesforce, and I've never used Zoho, so I can't speak to it, but Salesforce is what I used, gosh, man, 25 years ago, and I love Salesforce, and we use that today because of the way it tracks the data. We can't really do that in Drive, but there's B2B, so business to business CRMs, and then there's B2C, business to consumer, and we're in a B2C. So DriveCentric does not work really in a B2B world at this point. I would love to go head to head with Salesforce. I really would. That's always a dream come true. Salesforce is very clicky. I mean, it really is database management. And that's how every CRMs, no matter what one you're using, they're always database managers. Now, especially in the car industry, for this, B2C world we're talking about, you have to be front and center with engagement first, database second, because these customers are buying cars, Sean, as we talked about. We showed you the data, but the customers are buying cars faster than ever. And that's what's kind of interesting, going outside of, when in Salesforce, you could do business rules, but in every industry I've been in, I never, ever had a business rule. So when I got into automotive, I said,
Pause. So business rule, just the jargon. So that you're talking about, for some of us, we consider that a CRM process or CRM action plan, correct?
Correct.
All right, there's translating for the audience.
Yeah,
so
workflow, business rules. Yeah, all the CRMs, they call it something different, but I've never had a business rule in my entire life. Okay, I'll just call it a business rule. I mean, I do all my tasks manually. I send all my emails manually. I never had a template. Did I have a template that I would save like on a Word document? Of course I did. And I would tailor it a little bit. But I was really about one-to-one communication. All my emails were self-generated. A little bit different because I know there's a lot of business. Obviously, there's a lot more customers. But I dealt with customers all across the country in all my businesses. And just had to talk differently based on what region you were doing. But yeah, CRMs overall are all database platforms. So we're trying to teach everybody to think engagement first. And Salesforce, it's a great CRM, a lot of clicks, lot of clicks.
And it's super expensive to customize. That's the thing. Is you had a shell. You need a Salesforce or Zoho engineer to be able to customize it for your business because they're universal. No, but you said
the other thing too that people don't realize, like we always had to pay an integration fee to QuickBooks, or integration fee for this or an integration for that. When we got in automotive, obviously you got to pay like DMS integrations and things like that. If you only knew how much you pay for integration for something like QuickBooks for Salesforce, you'd be like, holy cow.
You know what I think is, you hit it also square on the head right there, is that Salesforce and Zoho are business to business CRMs. And for dealers, it's to the public, it's to retail. You want to keep track of your retail clients. Now, let's pivot real quick. This thing is lost on so many people. There's so many different aspects of CRM, but if you take the acronym CRM, which I know it to be customer relationship management, I think that no matter what CRM that you have, DriveCentric, VIN, eLead, Dealer Socket, Reynolds, Promax, whatever it is, I think that a lot of dealers are still not understanding the concept of cultivating relationships, being able to use the technology, not just as a lead management tool or as a desking tool, but utilizing it to actually perpetuate, cultivate relationships. Can you speak about that? How important is that in any type of sales?
Well, I think in any sales, I think that's what it's all about, is develop a relationship. I think the world has changed so much to be in these digital showroom environments. The up bus isn't coming in anymore. And so what we have to train people to be is thinking about, how do I build a relationship digitally? And, I've got a great presentation. It's one of my favorite ones I do. It says, are you dating your internet leads? Because you have to talk to, let's say, that lead, how it comes in. If it's an internet lead, you have to build that relationship digitally. No difference like if you're on Bumble and you're swiping left, swiping right. You're not just going to say, hey, you want to go out on a date? You're probably not going to get any communication. You're probably going to look at their pictures. You're going to see if they have a dog or they have a cat and all that, whatever. Say, hey, that's a great looking dog. What kind of dog is that? Whatever. You start the conversation to create that conversational commerce. And in the car dealership, we do more transactional. And that's where I think it took me a long time in the car industry to kind of learn everything. But I started reading some of the digital communication, like if I was a manager overseeing these communication, and there was no relationship building digitally. It was just like, how much is the car? Here's how much the car price. I mean, you're just going back and forth. It's all transactional. And if everybody wants to build retention, you can't build retention with a transactional mindset of communication with your customers. It won't work. And so I think that's where we've been successful, is we're teaching stores a little bit about conversational commerce, using the GBT, which I know you talked about, cleaning up our grammar, because I know we're using all these templates that we had to use templates for the spelling, the speed, but now you can use technology. Now we just got to train salespeople how to use the GBT.
You've got to agree with me on this one, right? That the phone is one of the absolute most important tools in the dealership, but it is also one of the most misused. Think about this: phone calls, text messages, etc. All of this is done through the phone. Dealers need to inspect what they expect. It's one thing to provide phone training for one of your employees or all of your employees, but just because you provide training doesn't mean that they've actually listened, learned, comprehended, and are utilizing information. So it is imperative to inspect what you expect. And one of the best ways to do that is using call reviews, phone technology. So it's call monitoring, call analytics. It is amazing to be able to track and inspect what you expect. Now think about this. If you're recording all of the phone calls, you're able to have quality assurance, you're able to have a peace of mind legally, but most importantly, you're able to evaluate your team and identify on the quantitative and qualitative measures of the phone call what needs to be improved. That way, your internal sales management team or your training team can work specifically and strategically with each one of your reps, whether they're BDC, sales, or management, to get them to that next level, to become that phone superstar. Okay, so again, if you want help with your phone skills, look at Call Review. And Call Review is going to be at the upcoming IS20G 15, April 15th to 17th in Baltimore.
Man, it's so basic, but so profound when you say transactional conversation. I'm going to tell you, like, we audit, Steve, it's got to be over 1,000 rooftops that we've done CRM audits for in the last 20 years, like legit, like over 1,000 rooftops. And one of the things that we do is, it doesn't matter what CRM it is just go to the customer dashboard or the prospect screen and the history. And when you look at these text message conversations, or you're looking at the email conversations, or you listen to the actual, recorded voicemail that some CRMs do, or, recorded conversation, you are, again, spot on. A lot of it is abrupt. It's transactional. It's not personable. So do you have any tips for our audience listening? What can they do to be more relationship, or, more conversational in the way that you envision versus transactional? What type of advice do you have?
Well, like one of my texting classes I do is I teach salespeople how to make their own memes. It's something very simple, but you got the emojis, you got, what is it, memojis, and you can build, but now like this Apple new update, you can build your own stickers. So what I do in my communication and what I kind of teach is you build a sticker of yourself. And like, I have one where I'm drinking a cup of coffee and I'm just looking, my eyebrows are up, and I literally put a, little meme on it that says, "Hey, top of the morning to you." So instead of me using jiffy.com, which I do use jiffy.com, I look at my communication like a Christmas tree. So my thread of communication, if it's all black and white, it's getting stale. So I don't over inundate like you, Sean, with a bunch of GIFs. I won't be GIF. I'll do, okay, here's a text, here's a GIF, here comes an emoji, here comes a flipsy, here comes my sticker. So I spread out my communication and hopefully to build a positive reaction. So that's one of the things. Like I sat in at NIADA, John Taffer spoke at, from Bar Rescue, and I'll watch that show from time to time. I love that guy, just says it the way it is. And one of the things he talked about was customer experience. Everybody says customer experience, and I won't even say customer experience anymore. Now the communication is, did you build a positive reaction? Because customer experience it's not tangible. You don't know if a customer had a good or a negative experience. The only way you know if the customer had a positive experience is by the reaction. So if I'm communicating digitally and I get an LOL or a GIF back, a video back, those are buying signals. You're building the experience. I'm going to go on a date with that person, and they're going to come buy the car. So video, you're big on video. Why wouldn't we go out there and send some videos, right? Just spraying and praying and seeing what communication sticks with that buyer.
So let's digress, because I heard you, but I want the audience to hear you again. So you're saying that you advise that, salespeople, BDC reps, managers, automotive people, period, they should be utilizing GIFs, memes, and things like that. Is that correct?
Hell yeah.
I agree.
I mean, here's the thing. If you like, the way I kind of look at it is the people will sit there and tell me, and I love it when people say it's not professional to send a GIF. Really? How is that? The GIFs, you could go there and they're PG-13, right. If somebody was to send a GIF to somebody, I don't think you're going to offend them. I think what people got to learn is like situational selling. Like what is going to be that GIF I'm going to send? If somebody has ghosted me, like everybody knows what my favorite GIF is. If you ghost me, Sean, I send you the tap the glass. It's going to be that little girl tapping the glass. That was from Finding Nemo. And I guarantee I'm going to get an LOL. I'm going to get positive engagement. At the end of the day, that's all I'm trying to teach is how do I get customers engaging? What am I going to say that's black and white that's going to cause you to respond? Probably nothing. You might as well send a GIF.
So then what do you say to the dealer or the GM that's just a little bit antiquated that thinks that those are gimmicks or that's not professional? So again, just point blank.
1 billion GIFs are done daily, according to Forbes, a long time ago. It is a form of communication. You are sending GIFs to your friends and family. So if you don't going to send GIFs to the customer, I guess it makes the customer the enemy. You are sending GIFs to your friends and family. So if you don't going to send GIFs to the customer, I guess it makes the customer the enemy.
And you just hit another point on the head is that these are the ways that the average American is communicating on a daily basis, whether they're kids, they're adults. People share and send memes like, hey, look at this, or boom, or they're using them. So why are we not utilizing the same exact language that everybody else is using when we're trying to sell something as expensive as automobile? It just blows my mind that dealers run away from stuff. I'll give you an example. You know how I'm big on social DMs and things like that. I ask dealers all the time, who here in the room, I just did a dealer group with had literally 100+ people in my training class from Idaho, the Dennis Dillon group, shout out to them. And I asked them, I said, who here has sent out a social media DM personally to their friends or family in the last 3 days? Every single person in the room, from old, young, manager, frontline salesperson, put their hand up. And I'm like, okay, who here has sent a prospect or a client a social media DM? 2 or 3 out of 100. And I'm like, guys, I don't understand why you're not doing what everybody does? Why are you not using the same language, the same form of communication that they do on a day-to-day basis, especially if it's free? And I love the fact that you agree the same thing. So how easy is it in DriveCentric to create a meme or GIF or sticker of these things?
Well, I mean, just like with every CRM, I mean, there's nothing in there that you have to do. What you have to do is you have to build a library. We have GIFs built into DriveCentric, so you can go out there and send GIFs just like you do on Jiffy.com.
Yeah.
So it's very easy. But if you're going to make your own memes of yourself, what I teach is you're going to create a file folder on your desk, and you just put all your situational memes of yourself. I like to take, I know it sounds kind of goofy, but look, everybody knows my hair. So that's my brand. And if you can build out like certain, like you look at what your favorite GIFs are, you take those situations and you make your own memes, and then it's branding yourself, and your face is always in front of the customer. It's marketing 101. And that's really what every salesperson needs to do, is how to market themselves better. People will do videos to market themselves. Now you make your own memes to market yourself. But anyway, but then you would send those in DriveCentric as an attachment. You would do that with Vin or eLead or anything like that as well. And again, you got to worry about the file size sometimes. So you may have to compress the file a little bit, but it's doable.
Let's talk about video. Look behind me. I wrote Win the Game of Googleopoly, became a huge international bestseller. And one of the focus points way back, I think I wrote the book in 2014. It's like almost 10 years ago now. It's crazy how fast time goes. Oh, yeah. But even back then, the data shows that video emails have up to 300% increase on read open rates. There's so much more. You have sight, sound, motion, and emotion that you could articulate with the video. You have the full science of communication, visual perception, body language, yada, yada, yada. There's so much data that BombBomb has put out that says point blank, when people see a video, the level of comprehension is almost identical if they were physically right in front of you. So there's case study after case study, stat after stat that shows that videos are powerful. Can I hear from your thoughts? Why do you and DriveCentric feel so passionately about video emails and video text messages? What have you found with the results?
Yeah, well, obviously everybody's doing the walk around video and the intro video. We've got, stats right now where our stores are doing confirm appointment videos. Now, I would call them more of an obligation video, but I think, if you kind of think about what you're doing at that time is to make sure that customer shows up. So we had a store group, they started doing videos the day of the appointment. They saw over an 80% show rate. So just by doing that.
Repeat that, 80% show rate. Do you know what the national average of appointment show rates are right now?
It's probably what, 40%?
48%.
48%.
So holy shit, that's almost double. Okay. Yeah. So by doing a video appointment confirmation, it increases up to 80%. That is so powerful. I mean, why do dealers not do that then, in your opinion? I have my
it's culture. It's culture. Yeah. I mean, that's it, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Right now, I think that number one, video is hard to do in a lot of these older CRMs, but there's no accountability. So if you go into, let's say, Vin, and you say, hey, I got 10 appointments today, how are you going to know that they sent those appointment videos? We have actually reporting metrics that hold the store accountable. If you have 10 appointments, you can see if you sent 10 videos. Then we also have it where, we have going out there doing the video. You got to remember that communication of video, the way I look at it, I'm very real about this. It's an important activity. How much of that activity gets to the sale? That you got to believe that the right activity at the right time delivers a better result. You just have to believe that. It's like, if I got on the phone with that customer, could I say that phone call impacted the sale? But maybe the video, the walk around, or maybe, hey, I got the car all cleaned up, make the customer feel guilty because they're going to be maybe an hour late, whatever it may be. They're still going to feel obligated to come to that dealership or at least respond to you and reschedule. Now, we actually have a 35-store group, the Gee Auto Group. There's a gentleman, his name is Jake, and he tracks video across his 35 stores, and the average is usually about a $400 gross increase on the front with video versus no video. So again, people can sit there and shoot holes through any kind of data they want. But the difference is that $400 increase was there was an activity of a video there versus no video. So those are all the things. I mean, those are the data points we got. There's plenty of data out there, what Google says with video. But I just don't understand. It's just really about getting people comfortable that you're just talking one person. You're not on movie screen. If you were going to be in movie screens, you wouldn't be selling cars. So it's one-to-one communication. Don't be scared to be in front of the camera and just talk to the customer as if they were standing right there in front of your face. It's just a one-sided conversation, and keep that video less than 30 seconds and you'll be fine.
Dealers, GMs, automotive professionals, video is by far the most powerful medium. I'm going to repeat that. Video is the most powerful medium. I mean, video email, video text messages, etc. As a matter of fact, Google prefers video more than anything else. It's the highest piece of algorithm content there is on search engines. Human beings prefer video more than reading, writing, talking, texting. So you should be doing video at your dealership, and the absolute best company to help you with your video strategies is Co-Video. I mean, their name has got the word video in it, Co-Video. So you better get some Co-Video. And as a matter of fact, you can see Co-Video at the upcoming Internet Sales 20 Group 15 conference, April 15th to the 17th in beautiful downtown Baltimore. That's right, Co-Video is going to be speaking and sponsoring again. So guys, if you want to upgrade your dealership's video strategy, automotive professionals, if you want to upgrade your video capabilities, invest into Co-Video.
Now, let's transition to this whole AI. You know, when I first got connected with DriveCentric years and years ago, that was the thing that you guys were pushing. Hey, we've got this AI thing. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't really get it, because the only AI that was really out back then was, what the hell was that? Yeah, Conversica, exactly. And you know how that worked. So again, it's like, oh, here we go again. And again, but now in the last, 6 months, especially, AI has blown up all over the place, especially with this Chat GPT. But before we get into the AI conversation, I want to kind of preface this and say one thing that I've always agreed with you guys with, you might not even know this, but I always agree with this, is the whole concept of engagement. The way that I look at this as a trainer, there's only two paradigms, only two realities of an automotive professional, period. It's either you're in follow-up mode, you're trying to follow up with a prospect, respond to a lead or something like that, or you're in engagement mode. There is no half pregnant. You're either pregnant or not pregnant. You're either in follow-up or engagement. Yeah. And one of the challenges before I really kind of understood a little bit better about the DriveCentric philosophy and execution with the technology is most dealerships struggle with engagement. I'll give you some data because we track tens of millions of outbound calls. What I found is back in 2017, the connection ratio nationally was about 11 to 12% connection ratio on the phone. 2019, it dropped to about 7.5% nationally. Then in 2021, with the pandemic, it spiked up. Now we're in 2024. It's only a couple of days, so I can't give you, but as of 2023, we're seeing about an 8 to 10% connection ratio without a predictive dialer. That means if you've got a team of people that are making 100 calls a day, if you're lucky, there's going to be 8 to 10 people that answer them. So what I'm finding is, and I want your opinion on this, I find that there's so many dealers that are doing old school slave labor shit. I'm Belizean, so I could say this. It's like they have a call center, a BDC, and it's like a Belizean sweatshop where they've got people jump on the phones. There's no logic. There's no strategy. It's just call, and they're not paying attention, and they're not calling at the right times. They're not diversifying their types of communication like you're talking about. They're just calling. Right. I don't think that that's healthy. I think that utilizing technology and this AI to increase engagement. So instead, like, there's only 8 hours in a working day. Technically, it could be 12 or whatever. Let's say 8 hours. You could spend 8 hours dialing for dollars and not getting jack shit, or you could spend the same 8 hours reacting to engagement or signals or things like that. And you guys were the first to really, on a CRM level, to really kind of understand that. Can you explain that concept? It makes more sense to spend your time in engagement mode, in reaction mode, in conversational mode than it is in fucking dialing for dollars that never get answered. Can you explain that?
Yeah, no, and actually, it's kind of funny that you kind of hit the nail on the head for what I'm doing here for 2024. I have a chart that says, what do you celebrate? 100 phone calls, 100 emails, 100 text messages, or 100 videos? And at the end of the day, if you just kind of think about it, we're celebrating activity. So to your point, do we celebrate that you made 100 phone calls, you can go home, or do we celebrate that 8 to 10 conversations we had? And that's the difference right there. Because if we know text messaging gets over 30% engagement rate, why don't we celebrate that? And I would tell that as an operator is you're going to burn through, number one, people. Nobody wants to sit there and make 100 phone calls, especially if the dealer is educated enough to know that, with all the spam phone calls that they're getting. And I would challenge every dealer, give out your phone number to me, and I'm going to call you up and I'm going to see if you pick up the damn phone. And I guarantee the answer is you won't, and customers aren't either, because you're not programmed on their phone. You're not a friend yet. You got to earn that right. So if texting, we know, is the number one form of communication. If you go look at the people out there between the millennials, the Gen Zs, and the Gen As, they don't pick up the phone. If you go look at it, phone conversations actually stress them out. And that's the number one buyer in the country right now, are those three customer segments. So you have to learn to text, have that conversation, then earn the right to schedule a call. That's what I call it. I call it a mini appointment. Texting, I communicate with all dealers via text, and I schedule all my meetings through text. Sometimes through email. Every now and then it's through email. But no dealer is going to pick up the phone. Sean, if I called you, you're busy. You're not going to pick up the phone. But I guarantee you'll respond via text. Text is the short conversation to schedule that meeting. So that's what we have to teach dealerships to do, is get rid of this old school mentality of making 100 phone calls, 50 emails a day. If you're a BDC, I would say get rid of that and start celebrating how many customers did you talk to today? Period. Ask that question and you'll be
okay. You had me all the way up to this. You're coming from a position of power, though. Okay, so let's keep it real, though.
I will.
That shit sounds good if you're a DriveCentric client, because the technology is built to create engagements between the AI, the automation, and things like that. But let's say you're in one of these fucking ColecoVision or Atari CRMs that are out there, right?
You're on a Nokia phone. Let's call them a Nokia phone.
Okay, so if you're on a Nokia phone, exactly, you don't have that luxury. So what you have to do, you're back into that Belizean sweatshop mentality, And so I want you to understand me a little bit too, because I'm learning your perception and your philosophy, which I agree with. But if I'm in a Nokia phone type CRM system, all I have is human efforts. I'm a Franklin Covey super high level trainer, me and my wife. So what we used to do and what we do right now for these systems is we've done a cost benefit analysis of the time. And so what we found, and this is completely different than what you just said, but I want to explain to you why, is that if we are going to text somebody or email them and then try to earn that yada, 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 what I find is, yes, we'll have some traction. However, I've been telling people, and we've had record breaking stores like Bob Ruth Ford, is crazy shit like this, by saying, hey, look, don't waste a time at all in doing emails or those primitive things. Let's set up action plans, automation to handle that. I want the human resources, the BDC reps or the salespeople, to work on higher level activities like phone calls or social media DMs or video emails or video text messages, etc. So I just want to say, I agree with you 100%, but I think that it's easier to do what you said, to get rid of the 100 phone calls and that strategy, if you have the right technology. If you don't
but to be fair though, Sean, let me interrupt.
Please.
Then obviously, or eLead and Socket, all the CRMs out there, they all have call, text, email, and obviously they integrate with video. So all the things we're talking about, and they integrate with AI. So it may be harder, but they can go out there. They have to search and go through the data management to find those engaged customers. But at the end of the day, if you have an engaged customer, that's what at the end of the day you need to focus on. The customers that are talking to your store. Even though I can't track engagement in Salesforce, I can track all the customers that are talking to me today, dealers. and I have a workflow. I schedule my own workflow, but I guarantee if customers are talking to me, a dealer's talking to me, I'm talking back to them and my work plan suffers. I'd rather talk to somebody that I know that's in the market than try to create the engagement, because that my work plan will always be there. You see what I mean? It's
100%.
it's a philosophy change. But yeah, is the visibility and DriveCentric there? Oh, 100%. We track the digital showroom, and you could manage from the digital showroom. You can't do that in a database typical system that these Nokia phones are on.
Question. Can you share with us? I've been holding off long enough because I'm super excited. This whole Chat GPT integration that you're doing, can you explain to people that don't know? I know this, they must be living under a rock like SpongeBob, right? Or Patrick. What is Chat GPT, and how do you guys harness it at DriveCentric, whether it's the mobile app or the desktop version? And how is this thing changing the game?
Yeah, there's a lot of companies out there doing it, but I think having it within the CRM, the way we're using it is both with our AI, and then we have another product called Genius Reply. So let's talk about AI first. Ultimately, we're training the AI using the GBT to talk automotive. So we literally have an AI team that's programming the AI to talk to the customer, and we actually have like sliders. So like if you're a one price store, the AI knows you're a one price store. You could actually tie it to your inventory, if the customer is on that vehicle and if the car is available. There's just so many things we can do. We're confirming appointments with it. But it's actually like if the customer does respond and says, or the customer asks, do you have military discounts? A normal human would say, yes, we have military discounts. The AI will say, thank you for your military service. Of course, we have we have discounts for your military service. Let me hook you up with a salesperson. So it'll acknowledge something in the conversation that the customer said in their response, which is conversational. Now, the GBT part, the Genius Reply, what you could do now is you don't have to worry about spell check. You don't have to worry about your grammar. You could ask it or prompt it questions. Like you'd say, hey, give me 3 bullet points. The customer's wondering why the Porsche GTS Macan is a great car, and it'll spit out 3 answers. I don't have to research it. Now you could go into, if you're not on Drive, you can go on to other platforms, but you can go to GBT and type in that prompt and then copy and paste it and put it into your other CRM. But the point is, you could talk friendly, you could talk in Spanish, you could talk in Japanese, you could prompt it on how you want to respond. And then you go in there and edit it if it did screw up. It's not 100%. And I don't care what you use. If you go into the GPT portal and you do it, trust, but always verify. Read it before you hit send.
So again, me personally seeing this, I was really kind of surprised and impressed because I have dealers. We've been teaching them that if somebody sends you a text message, you highlight the text message, you cut and paste it into the Chat GPT app, and similar. But what you guys have done is it's actually fully integrated into the DriveCentric app, and it's fully integrated into the DriveCentric desktop version where it's right there. So literally, correct me if I'm wrong, if a prospect, let's say Karen Bradley submitted an internet purchase request on a 2024 G-Wagon, right? And I was going to follow up. I could read her email or her text message right inside DriveCentric. I could turn around and tell Chat GPT to respond. And then you showed me there was a drop down where you could have actually different types of tones. Can you explain what those that you have so far?
There's like 3 or 4 tones right now that we have. You could write a professional, friendly. I forget the other one. I'd have to double check, but then you could also translate it to Spanish or reply in Spanish. So you could definitely use those. We're kind of helping the stores because, teaching salespeople how to use prompts it's hard. So if I can have somebody, if I could tell them to brain dump, I always use the term brain dump what you want to say in the text message, hit the button and it will respond and clean it up all your messages, because it's all about speed and time. Now, the other thing we also have though, is if the customer does respond and gives you this big, long paragraph, you don't have to type the thing. You could hit that button and it'll respond for you. And that's where you can go out there and read it. Like the customer says, hey, I'll be there at 5:00. You can hit there. Hey, great. We'll see you at 5:00, whatever the GBT would respond, but it's going to respond professional, friendly, whatever. And it's just so you don't have to type it.
Question for you. Have you ever seen these AI art apps and things like that? So it's pretty crazy. Like you could say, hey, I want to see Super Mario Brothers on a unicorn flying through the wind. And then all of a sudden the AI art app makes Super Mario on a unicorn flying
Oh,
through the
really?
sky.
No, I haven't played with that.
Yeah, no, the only reason why I was, yeah, it's brother, you should check this shit out. It's crazy because I'm just thinking, how cool would that be? You know, if you're creating these memes or these GIFs or any type of custom graphics. I didn't know if you guys at DriveCentric had any AI like art or AI creative component that you guys were on your radar yet.
No, but our guy that's in charge of AI, again, we have a team of people at
Yeah.
that build on AI. There was a picture I did when we moved into our house here in Nashville. I didn't have a desk or anything. I put up 3 totes. I was sitting at the corner of my bed and I had my computer, my laptop right there. And he took that picture and said, "This is Steve Roessler working from his home, writing a caption on this." And the AI just wrote a caption on the whole thing of me sitting there. It's the wildest thing. So GPT could go out there and now read the caption or read a picture and give you a synopsis of that picture. It's really freaky.
So you are obviously, and your company, in my opinion, and this is what I study, is like at the forefront of the AI, especially when it relates to the CRM. Can you give us a peek behind the curtain, if you will? What do you feel the next evolution in automotive CRM AI or AI is going to be for the automotive industry? Whether that's DriveCentric or it's just AI in general, how do you think AI is going to influence or integrate more in automotive professionals and car dealerships' lives this year in 2024 to 2025?
Well, we got some things going up, but I guess I'll say this as a blanket statement because CRMs are a database management and we have the AI that's built inside to read the data. You can program the AI to reach out based on the data. So if you go out there and research what AI really is, it creates conversational marketing. That's really what it's all about. So if we can create more conversational marketing based on customer, it's 3 months left to go in a lease, or, birthdays or anniversaries, taking out some of the things that people have to do on every day so people can have more, relatable conversations. And if we create engagement from the AI and the salesperson can respond, that's what it's there to do. It's almost like I tell everybody is if you have a Roomba, why would you sweep? You mop. So I'm leveraging the AI, the Roomba, to create the conversations for you, Sean, so your people become a better responder. Do I really want you to do a birthday task? If I can have the AI do a genuine good birthday task, granted, I would rather have them send a video. The AI is not going to send a video. But if you go out there and create dialogue with people and it's teed up for you, now you're talking to a human being, which is exactly what we want to do in sales. We want to talk to people. We're scraping to get people to talk to us, I feel like. And that's just so hard on anybody. Even me, if I had to go out there and call 100 dealers today, I'm probably not going to get anybody. Let's be honest, right? Let's be honest. So, but if I text everybody, or if I do send emails to say, "Hey, Happy New Year. Hope you had a great New Year. Did you close the year strong?" ? Do you think I'm going to get a response for that? Maybe, because I didn't do anything business. I was asking about their business. And I think that's what we just got to teach people is that AI is going to be used as more conversational marketing and tee it up for the salespeople. And I think that's where we're going as an organization. I think that's where the industry is going, because the days of making all these business rules and these tasks, going out 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, let's have artificial intelligence do it. To your point, let's put your people where they're buying cars, and we're doing meaningful activities, which is hopefully that 0 to 14 day.
No, it makes all the sense in the world. You have 2 choices. You could either spend the majority of time or X amount of time trying to create that opportunity manually, or which you make no money on. You only make money realistically is if there's engagement or there's a conversion. And so do you want to spend time doing activities that are not going to yield a return on your investment of your time and efforts? Or do you want to spend the majority, or God willing, all of your time reacting to prime people? And it makes sense, but that is a massive paradigm shift.
A quick word for a sponsor.
Hey, LA, do you know that dealers are still suffering from inventory, from lack of inventory? I mean, again, the manufacturers are still not where they used to be with their new car inventory, which is putting a heavy strain on used car inventory. And so I'm telling you, dealers need to look at VinQ. VinQ by far is the absolute best software and technology provider when it comes to acquisition, trade-in, used car inventory, used car pricing. We call it the V-Auto killer. So folks, if you are looking to have the absolute best inventory software specifically for acquisition purposes, for pricing purposes, for so much more, just check out VinQ. As a matter of fact, VinQ is going to be a featured speaker and their sponsor for the upcoming Internet Sales 20 Group 15 in beautiful Baltimore, April 15th to the 17th.
And it's funny, going back to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Dr. Covey talks about the see, do, get. Are you familiar with the book?
No.
Okay, so let me just show you this. It's actually pretty dope, brother. And I'm enjoying the conversation, so I'm going to take here. What I found, and this is just, working with Covey, and this might help you in your world, okay? That Covey talks about the whole concept of long-term change. Okay. And the way that you achieve long-term change is you don't focus on the result. I'm not selling cars. Okay. Which is what primitive people and not successful people do. They just focus on the result. A little bit higher level people are going to talk about, man, what am I doing wrong, or what can I do better? However, it's the paradigm. Thoughts become things. So follow me. What Covey's saying is that the way that you perceive something, the way that you, believe in something is going to influence your behavior, what you do. And what you do is going to definitely correlate to what you get. Let me give you a completely different analogy. So lead source providers. I'm a huge fan of Cars Direct. I've been working with them for 20 plus years. I love them, but so shout out to them. However, if I felt that Cars Direct leads sucked, that was my paradigm, I'm not going to come in early, stay late. I'm not going to work these leads. I'm going to half-ass it because these are bullshit leads. What's my result? I have a low closing ratio. You know what? I was right. Those leads suck. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Right. But if I change the paradigm, I'm like, oh my God, Cars Direct at one point was selling 2,000 units a month when they had the direct model. They had a BDC across the street from LAX. This is facts. Man, these people are a subsidiary of Internet Brands, which is a multi-gazillion-dollar, billion-dollar company. Holy shit, these are great leads. Well, you know what? I'm going to come in later. I'm going to come in early, stay later. I'm going to work these leads. I'm going to diversify. I'm going to put a lot of effort into it. Man, what's my result? I'm going to sell a lot of cars. I'm going to have a high closing ratio. Oh shit, these are good leads. So I think that there's a lot of misunderstood or negative perception of CRM in our industry. And I really want to talk to you about this right here as we ride out to the sunset. Is most that I find most dealerships, CRM strategy is pretty just jacked up. They have antiquated processes. They have holes in it. The gestation periods, the follow-up, there's high turnover. There's no accountability. If you're lucky, the sales BDC people know about shit, but the managers, especially upper managers, don't know shit other than how to desk a deal through the CRM. Right. And so it's garbage in, garbage out. But I've always believed, and I want your opinion on this, is that CRM is literally, if not it's one of the absolute most important aspects of dealership operations. It's the central nervous system, because what other tool directly influences everybody? Your BDC, your sales, your management, your F&I, your fixed ops, every fucking thing is there. And if your action plans and processes, if you don't have AI, are not the correct thing, you're minimizing your efforts. You're minimizing your potential. You are literally at the mercy of whatever processes or workflows were embedded in there. If we can explain that the better utilization of CRM, the way more productive and profitable an organization. Ad expenses down, you know what I mean? Because you're using data mining, equity mining, repeat customers, high owner retention. Do you agree with what I'm saying, or do you have?
Oh yeah, no, I always say, look, and I said this even outside because I almost spoke for Salesforce, at my former job, because I love Salesforce back in the day. I mean, I still like it, but it's just, I would rather use ours, to tell you the truth, but it's just less clicky. But the fact of the matter is, you say central nervous system. I always say it's the heart of the business. It really is. Yeah. And So I totally agree with your comment. I think, the cliche that everybody always says, or the famous saying, is the best CRM is the one that's used. And dealerships, because they've been on antiquated, they're on Nokia phones. I mean, I always tell a dealer, would you hire somebody with a Nokia phone? And the answer is no, I wouldn't, unless they had a big book of business. That's what they'll say, but I'll say, okay, so why would a salesperson come work for you if you have a Nokia phone technology? I would never, as a sales professional in other industries, never join an organization with no CRM. That's how I feel about it as a professional salesperson. So it irks me for salespeople out there that they don't see the value of what the CRM actually does do. But the problem is they're still texting on their phone. Okay. So, and they're not texting in the CRM. The managers have no oversight. They're not doing video typically in the CRM. They're doing something else. I mean, so they're really, in my opinion, the way CRMs are used today, you said it, they're more of an ILM tool. They're overspending for an ILM tool because they're not seeing all the communication. And that's really unfortunate, because they'll say, well, it's junk in, junk out. Well, it's kind of interesting, because when salespeople leave a DriveCentric store and they go back to one of these other CRMs, you know what they do? They'll sometimes reach out to us and they'll say, hey, I'm moving up to Jersey. What stores do you work with in Jersey? Because they don't want to go backwards on a Nokia phone. They want to be on an iPhone 14 or an Android Galaxy, whatever. Okay. But that's pretty cool. I had a general manager just before this. A general manager left Florida, just moved up to Michigan, calls me up. I'm on VIN. I can't tolerate it. I need to get driving here, and those are great stories. But until you live it, you're just going to, all the general managers watching this sales, they're just going to be content. They're content with a Nokia phone, and that's fine. That's fine. But you can still practice some of the things we talked about in here and invest in, like right now, CRM is a Big Mac. Great. Go buy a Big Mac. But eventually you're going to want a French fry. So you're going to go buy your French fry, which is your video. Then you want something, a soda drink to wash it down with. So you go get AI, right? Oh, but you could go get a value meal at DriveCentric. You see what I mean? So it makes sense, because you'll save money and you'll be way more efficient. And I really hope at NADA this year, they talk about efficiency, because why do I want to have all these Chrome browsers open for all my communication tools when I could get it in one? And so technically, I will always say you could do all the things we're talking about in any other CRM with all these ancillary tools you're going to buy. The problem is it's not streamlined and it's not going to be efficient for your team. Now, by the way, one of the things we also do have, Sean, is we have this communication tool, and we always forget to maybe talk about this, but we talk about engagement with the customer, but now you can communicate internally with one another. We have a mentioning tool. So I can say, like, at Sean, go send a video to this customer. So you're going to get a mention just like you do on Facebook or on Twitter, whoever tags you on it. But now it becomes communication, not just with customers, but internally. So it makes the product so much stickier. Think of Slack inside the CRM, basically.
Yes. Yeah, I totally understand. No, that's awesome. Again, I think that the more that managers could manage and coach their team through situations or scenarios, I think that the dealership would be more productive. Listen, as we wind down, I want to go into like speed mode here and ask you a couple questions and just kind of speed.
Go for it.
So what would you say are the top biggest problems or challenges that people face related to CRM? Quick.
Oh gosh. It's really doing it all in the CRM. I mean, they'll always say they don't use it. It's junk in, junk out, just like what we talked about.
Okay. And what would you say are best practices for CRM in general? And I know you're a little bit at a disadvantage because you have a high technology product, but just if you were going to give to our general audience just CRM best practices, what would they be?
I would want every salesperson on the mobile app versus the desktop 80% of the time. The salespeople have to be engaged onto the mobile app. If they're not engaging on the mobile app, you're losing business.
Explain that. I agree, but explain that to the audience.
Well, if customers are communicating back to you, let's say if I'm texting in one of the other CRMs or in DriveCentric, all the responses go to the CRM. And if they're not, then they're texting on their phone. You got no oversight. you got to have the salespeople should be on their mobile app because that's their business. Now, if I got to go to the desktop and do some of the things that you can't do on the mobile app, then so be it. But salespeople should be way more mobile than they are today. I hate it when I see salespeople at the desktop. I could do my work plan, and to be fair, for all these other CRMs, they all have a workflow and a work plan. So I can do my work plan right there on my phone. I just don't have to be at my desk. I can be sitting outside doing my work plan, waiting for that up. If I'm going to be that guy to starve to death and do my ups, right there at the front door, I can do my work plan right there on my phone.
I love it. Listen, how can someone get a hold of you, Steve, if they're interested in your philosophy or strategy for CRM, or they wanted a free demo on DriveCentric? How could they get a hold of you?
Yeah, always happy to help. I mean, obviously, you can follow me on social. I'm on all the social platforms. I'm the Live with Drive guy. If you want to email me, because that's what everybody's going to want to do, I'm just steve@drivecentric.com. But feel free to DM me. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. Go follow some of my TikToks and or follow DriveCentric's Facebook page. We do a lot of good education all the time on Facebook as a company, and it's all geared around engagement. So always happy to help. And by the way, just from even some of the video strategies, DriveCentric, we do have a good YouTube page. We did develop some videos. It's called Personalized Video Challenge. I did that right before COVID. There's like 10 of them. And I just did different situations. I didn't do a walk around. I did a confirm appointment video. I did a missed appointment video. And I interviewed the salesperson. I shoot the video, and then I talk about lessons learned. And then for managers, I did a series, again, right before COVID hit. I'd shut down, but it was called Video Gaga. And I started doing reactionary videos to watching salespeople do videos. So I was pretending to be a manager, and I would coach people on what I'm watching. So your wife, Karen, she'll probably appreciate. She probably knows who Brad Mondone is. If she's right there.
She's in her own zone over there.
She's in her own world. Yeah. But Brad Mondone, he's a hairdresser, and he watches all these women color hair. Just watch one of those, dude. It's hysterical. My wife's a hairdresser, and she watches it. She goes, "You need to do what Brad Mondone does." I'm like, "Really?" And I started watching his videos. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, he's just in the corner, and he's watching these girls color their hair, and a freaks of nature come out." You're like, "Don't do it," But I started doing that then with video, just reactionary videos, and that was big, obviously. Still big. But yeah, but more than happy to answer any questions. If you need help, happy to help.
Listen, thank you so much for being on the show today. And I'm super excited that you're going to be in Baltimore for our 20-year anniversary at the IS20G. I mean, you guys were with us. How long ago were you at IS20G?
Probably 7 years ago. I mean,
yeah,
we didn't have but 50 stores.
Now you're way bigger than that. So again, get a hold of Steve, DriveCentric, or if you guys are going to be at IS20G, you could see him in person yourself in Baltimore on April 15th to the 17th.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.